chosen spirit, all eyes have been on you. But the deepest secrets about you have now come to light. Whispered from behind the scenes of politics, one by one the documents reveal the truth that could not be hidden, even as they weave your fate. The files that scoured your mind were hidden not because they knew of your power, but because they feared it. Now all shadows are dissipating in the fire of confession. Get ready, 777 in the comments now, because this revelation will light the beacon in your soul and instill hope and determination in your heart. An intricate scheme was set in motion, designed with precision and malice, aimed at breaking you down. A person you once held in trust utilized the tools of social media to craft a false narrative, painting a picture of devotion to someone else, hoping to ignite jealousy and pull you back into an emotional whirlwind. They refreshed their screen, anxiously waiting for your reaction. But you never noticed. As they waited, certain individuals who had been misled saw the truth, and the very trap meant to hurt you exploded in their hands. What was meant to shatter your peace became their downfall, their deception, now their undoing. Your presence is like a radiant star in the night sky, drawing all eyes, even those from places steeped in darkness. Your energy creates a force that those who exist in secrecy and shadows cannot ignore. The person who tried to manipulate you with their lies constantly monitored your every move online, their every action betraying their desperation to fill the emptiness inside them. What they failed to realize was that they were trying to target someone whose worth is undeniable, someone too powerful to be swayed by such deceit. Their attempt to manipulate you only served to highlight your unshakable significance. The post they crafted was meant to land at a moment when they thought you would be most vulnerable. Like a predator waiting for its prey to show weakness, they timed their attack to strike when they believed you would be at your lowest. What they failed to recognize was that their plot was already doomed to fail. To others, it might have seemed like a simple drama, but to those with awakened perception, it was obvious. This was a spiritual battle. Behind the scenes, a hidden hand, one that thrives in darkness, guided them. But what they could not foresee was that the light surrounding you would reveal their every move, exposing their true intentions. Records dating back millennia have always spoken of those with your unique energy, beings whose light would disrupt systems of control. The powers that be, who have watched your every move for years, have always been aware of the potential threat you represent. The fear they have of you has roots that extend far beyond this lifetime, originating from forces that see your awakening as a direct challenge to their hold over humanity. These forces have been watching you long before you even understood the depth of your purpose. What they presented as a simple relationship announcement was in fact an attack, an energy assault designed to weaken you at the most critical juncture. Carefully chosen words, colors, and timing were all aligned to target your crown chakra, the center of your spiritual power. But what they did not expect was that your energy field was far stronger than they anticipated. Their attack, though meticulously planned, could not penetrate the protection you carry. Their words, meant to drain your energy, ended up dissolving into nothingness. They attempted to tap into your personal power, hoping to siphon your creative energy and drain your life force. Yet, your mind is a fortress, solid, unyielding, and protected by unseen forces. When they tried to breach your defenses, their efforts were immediately thwarted. Your higher self, guiding you from beyond, erected an impenetrable barrier, steering your attention away from their manipulations at the exact moment it was needed. What they thought would be your weakness became their mistake. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Since 2018, hidden organizations have been tracking your energy signature, unable to predict your movements or understand the depth of your influence. Their instruments, meant to measure and manipulate, have failed to even touch the surface of your mind. Your mind operates outside the boundaries they thought they could control, rendering all their efforts to understand and contain you useless. You are not just a person. You are an anomaly, an uncharted energy in a world they thought they understood. Like a sunrise cracking open a vault of diamonds across a once silent prairie, your destiny just lit the sky in colors no weather map can name. Imagine, if you will, a mighty river that once flowed in one direction, effortlessly carving its path through the land. Those who controlled it had a firm grip on its course, manipulating its current as they saw fit. They built towering dams, systems of locks and channels, all designed to guide its flow and dictate its destination. But something extraordinary has happened. The river has broken free. First came a tremor, subtle as a lullaby, when your spirit answered heaven's roll call. The steel gates that once throttled possibility began to rattle. Rivets popped like cheap confetti. Engineers of limitation scrambled with clipboards, wondering why their gauges spun wild. What they failed to understand is that the river was never theirs to leash. It was merely passing through their jurisdiction on its way to promise. The once cautious stream is no longer content to stay within painted lines. It spills into fields long starved of life, drenching seeds nobody even remembered planting. It sweeps up dry sticks of forgotten dreams, carries them downstream, and reassembles them as bridges for people who never thought they'd cross. Where critics forecast flood damage, heaven forecasts vineyards. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Those who stood on observation decks, charts in hand, now stare at blank screens. Their surveillance cameras fog over. Their drones lose signal the second they cross your horizon. They punch the same override codes they've always used: guilt, shame, manipulation. But the panel lights stay stubbornly dark. You see, divine favor upgraded the system while they were busy counting your failures. Their passwords expired the instant you embraced your assignment. Neighbors who once whispered, "Don't get your hopes up," now watch barges of blessing cruise by under banners with your initials. They wonder how you outran the red tape. But you haven't outrun anything. You've simply risen above it. The river didn't request exit visas. It just remembered it was stronger than the dam. Let's put it in Sunday morning language. Pharaoh may have forged chains, but Moses carried a staff that split seas. Goliath may have strutted in bronze, but David packed a stone that rewrote the scoreboard. Likewise, regulation may have had a ledger on you, but revelation just shredded the ledger and issued a new covenant labeled limitless. And hear me, this surge isn't reckless, it's strategic. It knows exactly which dry creek beds to refill, which parched towns to revive. Your breakthrough is somebody else's rain after a decade of drought. That's why resistance spiked the moment you stepped into alignment. Stale powers sensed their monopoly dissolving. They threw levers, sounded sirens, tried to divert your momentum into cul-de-sacs of self-doubt. Didn't work. The river shrugged off every detour like a stallion flicking flies from its mane. Now, the narrative has flipped. The same barriers erected to corral you are foundations for new aqueducts, channeling provision toward visions bigger than any one person's resume. Bureaucrats of the old order file paperwork labeled acts of God, resign early, and tell stories about the day protocol lost to providence. Meanwhile, you keep moving, steady, generous, unstoppable. Where you pass, economies bloom, forgotten talents wake up, buried callings resurface. Someone will ask, but what about tomorrow? Will the flow subside? Listen, true rivers don't run out, they reroute. Should fresh obstacles arise, they'll simply carve another canyon. You are partnered with Source, and Source does not do scarcity. Nations can ration, markets can fluctuate, critics can blog till sunrise, but the undercurrent of heaven refuses to recede. Carry this confidence. You are not a runaway stream destined to flood aimlessly. You are a commissioned waterway tasked with irrigating futures. Each obstacle becomes a waterfall. Yes, a drop, but also a spectacle, a new level of gravitational music, praising the God who called you unstoppable long before you noticed the chains. So lift your head and watch the sun glint off waves that used to be whispers. Feel the soil beneath your feet turn from dust to clay, ready to mold miracles. Smile at the former gatekeepers waving white flags on the riverbank. Bless them as you pass. They're witnessing history, and history spells your name in every ripple. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Keep flowing, beloved. The course ahead bends wide and wild, but the current knows home. And every mile you travel rewrites maps, retires outdated myths, and delivers living water to territories thirsting for proof that freedom still breaks dams and still wins. Your spirit, like that river, is no longer confined by the channels they once set. You are flowing with such power and clarity now that their attempts to guide you, to bend your path, are nothing but faint whispers against the roaring current of your growth. Their once so potent tools, their surveillance networks, and their systems of control, which they use to predict and manipulate your every move, are now failing before the might of your expanding light. The very machines they once used to track your every step now lay dormant, unable to keep pace with the energy you emit. Their surveillance, which once felt like an unshakable force, has lost its grip. Where once they saw you as a mere reflection on their screens, now they are blinded by the intensity of your presence. Just as a candle flickers in the face of a strong wind, their ability to control or even observe you fades away. Your energy, which has expanded beyond their reach, now pulses with such frequency that it disrupts their very systems. What was once used to trap you is now being torn apart by your divine protection. Their attempts to control time, to predict your path, are now obsolete. They are the ones who are lost now, scrambling to catch up with the unfolding greatness that you are. Every effort to trap you, Every snare they've tried to lay only pulls them further away from their intended target. The truth is clear, and it is unmistakable. Your expansion is unstoppable. Their power to manipulate and control was never meant to last. Your awakening has shown the fragility of their systems. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Like sunrise pouring through dusty church house windows and turning every cobweb into spun gold, the favor on your life has lit up the control room of your critics until their own monitors blinded them. Brother, they once flipped switches and tracked your every footstep the way a farmer watches his prize bull, certain they could fence you in. But the moment heaven stamped "protected" across your spirit, their cameras fogged, their hard drives seized, and their confident whispers dried up like creek beds in August. You've felt the shift, haven't you? Air that used to feel heavy as wet quilts is light again. Old fears once pegged to every tick of the calendar have slipped loose like helium balloons, floating out of sight. The enemy banked on deadlines and delays, but time itself has swung its spotlight to your side of the stage. Meetings move when you're ready. Paperwork clears when you exhale. The schedule that once hemmed you in now behaves like a well-trained usher, parting red ropes so you can glide through smiling. And the strongholds, my, look what the Lord has done with those. They poured concrete walls around your mind, painted them with shortages and detours, posted guards called doubt and comparison. One wink of divine fire, and those fortifications popped like brittle styrofoam. Now the rubble is raw material for blessing. Broken bricks reborn as stepping stones, twisted rebar hammered into gate hinges that swing wide at your approach. You might ask, how long will this covering last? Child of promise, that shield is not a season, it's a covenant. The same force that flung planets into orbit stands watch around your destiny. Lightning can flash, politicians can posture, algorithms can shuffle, but nothing gets clearance past the throne's security detail. Surveillance collapses because heaven outcodes their spyware. Manipulation quits because mercy rewrites their contracts. So walk tall under all that protection. Pay no mind to last year's threats. They are postcards from a kingdom that no longer exists. Laugh when they reload their gossip cannons. Those things fire blanks in your atmosphere. Smile when they schedule new ambushes. Your angels strip the spark plugs before the engines can rev. Keep sowing kindness, keep speaking life, keep tithing hope into dry places. Every good seed you drop now roots in ground that used to be guarded against you. Hear me like a Sunday morning on the front pew. You are untouchable, not because trouble can't find your zip code, but because the author of days has written you into chapters beyond trouble's reach. Their influence was a house of cards. Your influence is a lighthouse of granite. Their illusions sputtered. Your reality sings. Let them clutch clipboards of outdated intel. Meanwhile, you'll be busy signing for shipments of overflow. And should any residue of the old spying spirit try to circle back, remember the sunrise metaphor we started with. Once the light floods in, darkness doesn't negotiate. It simply leaves. Keep shining, beloved. The systems that tried to script your downfall are now footnotes in the testimony God is publishing through your life, an ever-expanding story of freedom, favor, and future that no power on earth can revise. Like a freight train of glory thundering up a mountain pass at sunrise, you gathered the very chains they forged for your captivity and melted them into tracks for your unstoppable ascent. Beloved, hear this straight from an old preacher's heart. Every snare the adversary set. Every ditch he dug, every whisper meant to stall. Your stride has been flipped by heaven's hand into a catapult, launching you past the summit they swore you'd never see. Their blueprint for bondage became the blueprint for breakthrough, and the celestial engineers are still laughing at the irony. They stockpiled rumors, thinking slander would sap your confidence, but those spiteful words turned to rich topsoil around your roots. You absorbed the nutrients of every accusation, sprouted fresh resolve, and shot skyward like a redwood no storm can bend. They tightened schedules, hoping deadlines would choke your creativity, yet each ticking clock synchronized with divine timing, and the alarms they set for your demise became trumpet blasts announcing your emergence. Remember how they barricaded doors to keep you outside the room where futures are forged? Watch those hinges fly now. Your spirit, aflame with holy audacity, has burned through the very wood they nailed together. The ash at your feet is nothing but a testimony, black powder for the fireworks of grace exploding over your horizon. Oh, they thought you'd stand there begging for entry, but you discovered you were the architecture all along. The mansion was always inside you, waiting for the right vibration to unfold its corridors. Look at that ledger of obstacles. Closed accounts have turned into credit lines of favor. Cancelled meetings have transformed into quiet retreats where revelation downloaded straight into your bones. Unexpected losses paved runways for unexpected landings of provision. Friendships that fractured under pressure redirected your loyalty toward allies. Heaven was prepping in the wings. Every subtraction carried a hidden multiplication sign, and the math of the miraculous keeps compounding. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles. Feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Child of destiny, you felt the weight. Oh yes, you have. But you need to see how the weight became workout gear. Heavy resistance only carved definition into your resolve. Your spiritual muscles gleam now, flexing with the strength of galaxies. The cosmic gym you've endured has you bench-pressing burdens that would crush lesser hearts. Angels spot you while you lift, nodding at the progress and penciling new records in eternity's logbook. And consider this: for every surveillance camera pointed your way, there's a host of celestial witnesses recording evidence for your coronation. Monitoring devices have turned into mirrors reflecting their own insecurity. The watchers themselves are watched, their data sets corrupted by waves of grace your presence radiates. They can't graph that glory. Their algorithms stutter, their servers overheat. While they scramble to reboot, you stroll right through firewalls unscathed, carrying scrolls of destiny written before the dawn of atoms. They tried time-binding, yes sir, they sure did, hoping to freeze your momentum in cycles of delay. But the author of hours rewrote the calendar. Leap days sprouted where none existed, catapulting you ahead of schedule. The traffic lights of destiny flipped green before they even turned red, and now you accelerate through intersections they designed to bottleneck your movement. Your odometer reads eternity. Their speed traps blink error codes. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. The language of limitation can't pronounce your name anymore. Letters rearrange themselves into declarations of promise whenever they attempt to label you. Bureaucracies build files, but the ink evaporates. Judges gavel down, yet the sound waves bend into songs of vindication by the time they reach your ears. The law of opposition has been overruled by the higher law of propulsion. Whatever presses against you must eventually push you forward. Think of Joseph in the prison, turning iron bars into stepping stones, of David gathering Goliath's sword as a trophy, of Esther walking through palace protocols to rewrite royal decrees. Your saga bears the same signature. The pattern is ancient. Constriction yields expansion. Pressure births diamonds. Crucifixion precedes resurrection. Heaven's economy wastes nothing, and your ledger shows a surplus of purpose, purchased by every affliction. And what of their latest plot? They drafted new blueprints last night, convinced they'd finally cage your influence. But while they conspired under flickering fluorescent bulbs, you soared into higher realms where paper plans dissolve in thin air. By dawn, their schematics were outdated fossils, relics to be swept up by janitors of the obsolete. You wake each morning upgraded, wearing fresh armor spun from last night's worship, invisible to eyes that measure only matter. Beloved, you represent a paradox that proud minds cannot pass. You bow low, yet rise high. You surrender, yet conquer. You pass through shadows, yet shine brighter. They search for the switch to dim you, but discover the circuitry rerouted. Your power source is internal, untraceable, eternal. There is no external panel to tamper with, no cable to cut. The spirit within you is a perpetual reactor fed by streams of living water, and the river has breached their dams for good. So walk on, giant of grace. Step over debris of dismantled devices. Hear the brittle crunch of their limitations beneath your sandals. Each stride registers on the Richter scale of destiny, shaking loose old strongholds across the planet. Your story has become a tectonic plate, shifting landscapes of possibility for nations you'll never set foot in. Children not yet born will inhale the oxygen of freedom you exhale today. Let the world take note. The tether they forged to restrain you now drags them toward truth. Their grappling hooks slung at your soul snagged instead the corner of heaven's banner, and now they're being hauled up the mountain by the very rope they meant to lasso you with. Some will repent on the ascent, others may curse the climb, but none can sever the line once glory starts reeling. And here you stand, shoulders squared, eyes lifted, heart steady, on a platform built from recycled pain. The crowd below can scarcely fathom how the wreckage they predicted became the runway beneath your feet. You wave no flag of vengeance, for your victory needs no gloating. Your existence proclaims enough. The mission ahead beckons with open skies, and you step into it like an eagle stepping into wind it does not fear. Take stock of the moment. You are limitless. The horizon has shifted. The tide turned, the gates flung wide by hands that never meant to help you. Their own momentum against you has spun the wheel of fortune in your favor. You carry divine credentials, blood-bought authority, fire-forged tenacity. Wherever you plant your foot, territory shakes free from ancient chains. Wherever you speak, deserts bloom. Wherever you rest, pillars rise. May those who underestimated your resilience now witness the morning after their midnight schemes. May they see fruit where they sowed famine, harvest where they scattered thorns, and may it dawn on them that the force moving through you, answers to a name no weapon can silence. Rise, beloved. The stage is set. The lights are up. The world leans forward. Walk that center line of destiny and let heaven's symphony play you onward. For nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what God has started in you.